Furniture and household electronics retailer Lewis Group mainly sells goods on credit to the rapidly expanding middle-income market through the Lewis, Best Electric, Monarch Insurance and My Home brands, and has a market cap of 7 billion rand. Lewis has a price-earnings ratio of 8 and a dividend yield of 6.5%. Do you like this one as well?
I do like this one, liked it for a long time. Look, I think one of the problems with Lewis is that it's a great operation, incredibly solid. But I think a lot of people look at it and think it's a bit fuddy-duddy, in the sense that it doesn't have a great deal of charisma about it, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
Oh, something like Paul, but fuddy-duddy.
A bit like Paul, that's right. But if you look at its track record, it really is outstanding. I mean, it was spun off out of the Great Universal Stores almost a decade ago, and it's been standing on its own 2 feet since then. Great operation, very basic, very conservative management. If you go and see them in their offices in Cape Town, it's like walking back into the last century or the century before. Don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at them by any stretch of the imagination. I've got the utmost regard for these guys, but very different in the way they handle their business to JD Group, albeit they're in the same sector.
Let's look at the graph before we go any further on this discussion. Paul took us through it.
Has done very well, same chart pattern and a little bit more pronounced probably than JD, but you can see same sort of general sector blues affecting them at the end. Brought back to the market, the original Lewis family of, much earlier in the century, Great Universal Stores, as Chris says, then selling out. So it's really got a nice liquidity and a nice base, 7 billion. The CEO, Johan Ensslin, very strong guy, worked his first job there on the Kimberley store, taking it all the way through. So as you say, cautious, conservative, good at the credit extension. Traditionally, one which rebounded early. So they took market share, as far as I can tell, from Ellerines when African Bank management was busy decimating them. And they also took money and market share from JD Group when they were having carte blanche disasters and all sorts of other things. So since then, I think it's gone a little bit off the boil. The dividend yield is good. But I don't know, from here, as you say, do the store strategies work? I mean, they've got a very fantastic footprint around the country. But are they really the giant of the future? I'm not sure.
Could they be the giant of the future?
Don't know. Look, I tend to buy more into the JD story. If you listen to David Sussman, he'll wax lyrical about why you have to separate, the two operations, the credit granting side and the furniture side, but you have to make a profit in both. Lewis is they're still combined. Having said that, you can't take it away from them. They do seem to understand their customers exceptionally well on a one-to-one basis. So it's a very different model to JD Group. Is it the model for the future? It's tried and tested in the past. It may not be the model for the future. JD may have the edge in them in that regard, but only time will tell.
What about corporate activity on this space, considering we are seeing corporate activity across the sector as a whole?
What, in terms of them being taken out?
Absolutely.
I think it remains a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what African Bank did when they bought Ellerines, is that they were looking for the customers, as I said. They're looking for the point at which credit is created and issued. And as I said earlier, the two major issues are household and household formation and education. So, JD Group are too big, they're out of play in my opinion, but Lewis is not. African
not in
Bank
Chris's opinion, in your opinion, I just want to highlight that again.
African Bank, I understand, are beginning to sniff around again. They've taken a couple of key executives out of the operational and given them the task to go and look at the strategic direction of the group. Their purchase of Ellerines, though, was widely criticized because the timing was poor and all that.
Yeah, but hindsight is a perfect science. Come on.
So were they to go and do something chunky like this, I don't know whether that would, for the market anyway, put them too much into the furniture trade. But who knows, maybe they could whack it together, rip out the financing part and shunt this furniture trading business off into the hinterland.
When you say it's a distinct profitability, put a percentage to me in terms of probability.
Who knows, Bronwyn, who knows? But given the fact that, it's not that big, it's certainly within grasp of a number of people. Although I don't know if the competition authorities would wear it in terms of an existing competitor. I think they might have a few problems with that.
Hot or not on Lewis, Paul Theron?
No, I'm going to say no.
Hot or not?
I think it's a little gem. I think it's hot, yeah.